Hey everybody, my video is on the game today. The 49ers play the Cincinnati Bengals, week 2 of the 2019 season. And I got to tell you, I am really nervous about this one. I mean, I know some of our fans are already claiming victory, saying that this should be a game we should win. Um, I think we can win this game, but I don't think it's going to come easy. I think the Bengals will come to play. I think that when you look at last week when they were up there in Seattle. It's not easy to win up there in Seattle. I mean, the Bengals didn't win up there, but they came close to winning that game. They lost by 1 point. It's not easy to go up there and really challenge the Seahawks in their own backyard. Usually, when teams go up there, teams struggle. And I think so. I think this is going to be a tough game. Now, as far as it being 10 a.m. in the morning type game, well, the 49ers have been have been back there for over a week to get adjusted to the time zone and everything, and so, in Ohio. And I think that so that may not be too much of a big factor. However, what I think will be a big factor, so I know, but I still think it's going to be a tough game. I really do. And the things that the 49ers have to do, there's a couple of things they need to do. One thing they have to do is they have to be able. One of the things they have to do is they have to be able to run the football. You know, try to keep the chains moving. Get some mixture in there with the pass and the running game. If you get a good running game going, that takes off pressure off Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo, I still believe probably still has a little rust on him. It was evident last week, and although there was 2 touchdowns that were taken away from him because of penalties, but he did show little moments of rust there. There were little times he kind of overthrew his passes and stuff like that. But I think there's a little rust there. See, last week when we played Tampa Bay, what I was hoping for, because I knew Jimmy Garoppolo was rusty. I wanted our defense to come out and play really good and keep the score close, giving our offense a chance to win. And that's kind of how my approach is this week. I want our defense to go in there, play tough, running game, keep the chains moving, keep the offense running well, keep pressure off Jimmy Garoppolo. Because I still think there's a little bit of rust there. As the season goes along, that rust will come off. Got to remember, this is a guy that missed most of last year with an ACL injury. He didn't really. He only played one preseason game, and then of course he played the opener last week. But he hasn't had a lot of playing time, so there's still a little rust there. Defense is going to really have to probably be at its best these couple of weeks, or this week and next week. But it's going to be an interesting game. And another thing I think why the Bengals will be tough, as I heard something in the news that I think a linebacker or somebody on the Cincinnati Bengals, I think it was a linebacker, I can't remember his name, but he was shot and killed or murdered. His teammates may want to play for him. And also, the Bengals lost that game up in Seattle that they probably really believe they should have won. So they're going to come into this game with, um, you know, kind of like, kind of wanting to show everybody that, that they're for real, and that, and they're going to try to go in there and do what they feel they can do, because they've had they just just because of the loss of one of their teammates, and the loss up in Seattle. I think that's going to motivate them. There's so we'll see what happens with that. But I think that those things will give them motivation, um, and so the 49ers got to be ready for that. But we'll see what happens. I think that it's going to be an interesting game. It could be, and I think it's going to be a tough game. Now, do I believe we could win this game? Yes, I do. I believe that we could win it because I look at it this way. I think that there's still going to be a little bit of rust on Jimmy G. So I think that there'll probably be he'll probably get one touchdown, and I think that we'll get a rushing touchdown, and Robbie Gould will get a field goal. I think that we'll put 17 points on the board. I think our defense is good enough to hold Cincinnati, maybe 13. I mean, I know you Bengal fans are saying no, no, no way that's going to happen, but I think our defense is pretty good. I think it's pretty good, and and I have heard, although I'm not really certain of it, but I have heard that the Bengals do have a weak offensive line, and the 49ers pass rush could exploit that, use it to their advantage. But we'll see how that works out. And also, I heard during the week too about not meaning to go off base here with the game and all that, but I heard that I heard that Quan Alexander got fined, and I think that's a little ridiculous. They got him. They fined him for the helmet to helmet, but from what I from what it looked like and from what I've heard, this was actually more of a kind of one of those freak plays, and it just happened to end up that way. Alexander's, you know, Quan Alexander said it wasn't his fault. You know, um, he said it was. It just ended up that way. He wasn't trying to intentionally hurt the guy. So, you know, I think they made too much out of that. And also, uh, but I think this is going to be also Nick Bosa is supposed to play, and I guess he had limited practice on Friday. So, but I've heard things like it may be a game time decision of whether or not he plays. John Lynch has said in an interview that he can assure that Nick Bosa is going to play. We're going to need him definitely. And I when I went into the season, I thought that some of these games were going to be easy. But I got to tell you, looking back at these now, I really don't think they don't look that easy now. I said that early in the season, or in the off season. I said that when I look at the schedule, it looks like it could be an easy schedule because most of the teams on the schedule, you know, were below 500. They were below 500, and a lot of them, they didn't have winning seasons, so it might be an easy schedule. But it doesn't look like it's turning out to be that case because now, I look at last week's scores. It looks like these teams have actually improved. So, even the Bucks game last week, you know, I was figuring that was very, very winnable, but it could have been a loss. I mean, if it wasn't for those two pick sixes, who knows how that game would have ended up? It was the two pick sixes in that game for us that sealed the deal and assured us the victory. Um, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We've got a tough game, I think, coming up. Today, and Cincinnati. You look at Cincinnati. They went up to Seattle and they gave the Seahawks a tough run for their money. They really did, and they only lost by 1 point. So what looked like a game that I thought we could win easily, mm-mm. This one looks, they look better than what I thought they were going to be. And like I said, I'm looking for a close game. I think probably 17-13 we win. But so we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about my team, and I'm not feeling like I'm not confident about my team. But if we lose, you know, if we start making mistakes out there and penalties and turnovers and just untimely things, miscues, I think that I wouldn't be surprised if Cincinnati wins. You know, we always know the every given Sunday thing, any given Sunday, anything can happen. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I think we can win this game. It's interesting. The Cincinnati Bengals and the 49ers have always had a history, Super Bowl history with one another. Um, we've played them twice in Super Bowls, and probably among all the teams that we've played in Super Bowls, we've played them the most. We played, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Miami Dolphins. We played them each in one Super Bowl, in each Super Bowl, but we played the Bengals the most. We played the Bengals twice. I think we kind of have a rivalry with them in a way because of those Super Bowls, kind of like how Dallas and Pittsburgh are, and how Dallas and Pittsburgh, they've met each other, I guess, a few times now in the Super Bowls. So, you know, there's more of there's kind of like a rivalry with the Cowboys and Steelers, and I always kind of thought that with the Bengals, that we kind of have a rivalry with them, because of the Super Bowl, and I know that their fans absolutely hate 49er fans. I mean, dislike them. I can imagine in what they call the jungle there in Cincinnati. I'm sure they're going to be loud and just absolutely hateful towards the 49ers because of the history. But we'll see what happens. But it ought to be an interesting game. Um, I'm kind of a little bit concerned. I know this much. If the 49ers lose, I know a lot of people are going to be all over Jimmy Garoppolo. I know a lot of people are going to be, you know, um, saying, get rid of him. We lost the game. It's Jimmy's fault. They will do that because our fans will do that because they have such a high feeling about Nick Mullins. Now, if the 49, and it doesn't matter how the 49ers lose, if they lose because of a dumb penalties by the official, if we lose because of a turnover, let's say another player turns the ball over, or it's just something else that causes us to lose the game, not Jimmy Garoppolo, they'll blame Jimmy Garoppolo and say Nick Mullins, Nick Mullins. I mean, give the guy a complete season before you get ready to judge the guy. Give him a complete season. So far, we've won. We've won a game. So don't make it such a big thing out of it. I still believe in Jimmy. I think he has the potential. I really do. I just think he hasn't played enough to really show people what he's capable of doing, and he hasn't really accomplished a lot because he hasn't played much. Come on, give the guy an opportunity. Give him a chance. I mean, everybody deserves a chance. And if for some reason he's terrible and we have a whole season and he's just like, let's say he's Hoyer bad. Let's say he's Brian Hoyer bad. Then yes, then you can start talking about Nick Mullins. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think he's going to get that bad of a quarterback. But I do think that he can help us. But we got to get the running game going. We didn't have much of a running game last week. We got to get Breida going. And Mozart going. We also got running back Jeff Wilson. Running back Jeff Wilson off the practice squad, and waive tight end Caden Smith. And the reason why they did that they brought in Wilson is because Coleman is out now, and probably won't be back until around the month of October. So I thought that was a smart move. Another thing too the Bengals have coming for them is that it's been revealed that uh, well, Bengals running back Joe Mixon plans to play versus the 49ers. See, there's another element they have, and I've heard he's pretty good. So he's coming to play, although he has an ankle sprain, so that might limit him. Um, you know, but we'll see what happens with that. But it'll be an interesting game. I still believe we will win, 17-13. That's my score. Um, you know, because I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I really do. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those kind of games. It's defensive battle. But we'll see what happens with that. And I think that you know the thing too is I don't know. This isn't regarding the game, but has anybody ever noticed that all the teams that didn't make the playoffs last year, or teams that were terrible last year, are given a harder schedule, and then all the teams that were in the playoffs last year and had winning seasons, are given an easy schedule. I mean, look at the Dallas Cowboys. They played against the weak Giants. Today they're playing against the weak Redskins. You got the New England Patriots playing the Miami Dolphins. And a lot of the teams that didn't have winning records are being given tough records. So yeah, I don't know. It used to be the other way around, but you know, they do it to us all the time. They always give us these records that these schedules that can be tough on us. It seems like the NFL hates us. 49ers. Their officials are always out to get us. It seems like, and the NFL office is always trying to give us a difficult schedule. I mean, I guess that's just the way they are. But yeah, the game's going to be. I'm going to go down to Buffalo Wings to watch the game and just enjoy myself and I hope they win. I hope my team wins. I do not like sitting at a table at Buffalo Wings or any sports bar and watching my team lose, wearing my 49ers stuff, and everybody's looking over at me like, oh, his team is losing. I don't like that, but that's part of the game. That's part of being a football fan. You gotta feel good when you win and endure the embarrassment when you lose. It's just that's football. But anyways, that's all I want to say. I'll do a video later today, after the game, and I'll talk about what went right, what didn't go right, or how it could have been different, and and talk about all these different things about what happened in the game. I'll do a video probably Sunday night, or later in the day or later tonight. I'm doing this video early in the morning. It's 3 a.m. right now. But anyways, I'll talk to everybody later. And everybody, until my next video, and take care. See you all after the game.